Did we just give Gareth Bale a ton of confidence going into the World Cup? That's like the worst plan of all time. What are we even thinking, Steve Cherundolo, who I actually texted with after the game, offered up congratulations. He's a former guest of ours. I'm trying to get him back on the show so he can talk about how he won the double in his first ever year as coach of an MLS team, which is unbelievable. But Charlie, talk to us about Gareth Bale and what this means for him, because every time he puts on that Wales shirt, that guy's another level. And we saw the evidence of what he can do. If he's not doing much, he's still dangerous.
He'll always be dangerous with the ball at his feet or in the box, just because he can absolutely peg a ball. And then you saw his leaping ability against Andre Blake at the near post, dunking on Jack Elliott. That was a phenomenal goal. But he's not as mobile anymore. So in terms of guys pressing you, we don't really have to worry about that. And then in terms of, him getting around the pitch and making runs in the channel, that's not his game anymore. He is solely down the middle. And that's why I think when he came to LFC, there was a little bit of a struggle because Arango was in form. So you're not taking him off the pitch, and you can't play Gareth Bale anywhere else on that LAFC side because it's a liability. If you have Carlos Vela and Bale who aren't going to run and do all that work defensively, it puts you in bad positions, and it can also unbalance you because of their movement, whether, they both like to come in centrally. So then all of a sudden you're weak in those areas. I think for the US, yeah, he's coming in feeling good, feeling confident, but he's not fit. He's not match fit to play 90 minutes for 3 consecutive games. And they need Gareth Bale to be able to start and play most of the minutes in all 3 to get through. So I think from that standpoint, it's one player who is capable of a moment of magic, but it's not something you should worry about if you're playing for the US.
Yeah. I agree. I think he's got a good final pass if you allow him. And then same thing, he occupies space in the box as good as anybody right now in terms of his runs aren't hard, but if you allow him to go 50-50 with somebody and get off of 2 feet, get up in the air, he can punish you for that. But when I think about that through the lens of the national team and the setup and being protective of that, I'm not too worried about him, what he's going to do. Though again, if he checks back deep, he does have the ability to slot passes, has a good range of passes and things like that. But like Charlie said, the main threat, the thing that he's famous for, is no longer what I see as the threat in his game right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he's utilized, where he's going to set up, right? I know that Wales have Kiefer Moore up top, 6'5" striker. I think Bale coming off of him. Maybe, I don't know if he's going to start central and drift wide. Is he going to go wide and drift central? Very curious to see where Gareth Bale sets up for Rob Page and his team. But before we take any steps further, we had our very own James Benge, who is part of the House of Champions podcast in our CBS Sports family, who had the opportunity to talk to Yunus Musa, who did mention this Wales game. So before we take any steps further in this whole show, let's hear what Yunus Musa had to say to James.
Of course, this international game against Wales, I know you didn't know it at the time, but you're going to be facing them again. Mm-hmm. Does that feel for you like it could be and it's obviously the opening game as well, a chance to put a marker down, not for the whole tournament? And I mean, obviously it's going to be crucial because I think everyone thinks that there's a battle for second behind England in that group. How important is it going to be that you've tested yourself against Wales, and what do you think you learned from that game?
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting a long time for this game, and now that you put my mind to it, it's actually going to be, I'm going to be playing in the World Cup, my first World Cup game against the team I debuted against, so that'll be special, I guess, as well. And yeah, it's very important game to start off this tournament strong, and yeah, like a win, it's a must win basically. You have to go out there and win that game to start off the tournament on the right foot.
And I guess, I mean, it could be a real challenge for you because obviously we don't know how Greg's going to line up. We don't know exactly how Wales are going to line up. But I think it's fair to guess that, some of their strongest players, be it Gareth Bale, be it Aaron Ramsey, they're going to be in the same pockets of space that you are. For you, is that something that it invigorates you? The chance to test yourself against veterans who have done it all and really shone on the tournament stage.
Exactly. No, I love the fact that I get to challenge myself against these guys to see where I am. So no, I love that because it's gonna really show. It'll show whether I'm there or I'm not. Like, show how much more work I need to put in or all of that stuff. So no, I feel like it's a great challenge to be able to play against those guys, and When you play against players like that, you even want to go even harder, you know, to be better than them. So hopefully that's what happens.
All right, so some interesting words there from our very own James Benge and Yunus Musa. Charlie, I'll come to you. Anything there that you're surprised about with Yunus? I'll be honest, a little bit jealous that James got that interview and not any of us. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
No, I mean he gave him pretty much softball
Standard
questions.
Yeah.
No, you know, if he was on our show, we would have gave him the heat. So
with a megaphone, the drum, and some heat. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly
I don't know what the answers would have been had he come through our show, but no, he's, for me, you know, the player I'm really most interested in watching in this World Cup in terms of the midfield, which is our strongest core of our team. You know, what does that look like if Weston McKennie's not able to start that first game against Wales? I hope he is, but if he's not, coming off an injury, then who slides in that spot for us? I think it's just going to add more importance to what Yunus Musa does for us in the midfield.
Reina, my guy, or bust. Reina or bust.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear anybody come up with this double pivot Adams Acosta type nonsense in a World Cup. I don't want to hear it,
especially not for Wales. The last thing I want to see is us go defensive, ultra defensive against Wales. Like that's the team to send a message to England, to Iran, to the rest of to the teams in Group A that we're here to play. That we're going to attack. We're going to have, you know, Yunus Musa and Gio Reyna being underneath to support the front three. Christian Pulisic is a man on a mission, just playing like he's on fire, just hardcore runs, dribbling guys, playing 1-2s, and then Timo Weah on the right, getting to the end line, whipping balls in. I'm ultra excited for that first game, and the last thing I want to see is us play defensive with two double pivots, two defensive midfielders, Kellen and I know Kellen's good as an 8 too, but if we're playing 2 6s, which I don't think is going to happen anyways, that would be
you never know, Chuck.
No, stop it, Jimmy. Don't even put it out there.
Well, why would we do it against Saudi Arabia? We did it against Saudi Arabia. No need to do it, but we did it anyway. I found that to be very interesting. Also, there's some news that Weston McKennie is back at training at Juve. Maxi Allegri said that he is hopefully going to be available for their last 2 fixtures before they have to go to the World Cup. So that is promising. Luca De La Torre is also another player that is apparently running. Celta de Vigo came out on their social media and we saw some him running in the fog or whatever he's doing. So I'm very curious. We're going to get into our roster selections and in our preview of that after the break. But I did want to go ahead, Heath. What did you want to chime in with?
No, I just think, you know, again, we'll get to it. And I do think Luca De La Torre is on this roster just because of the fact that you could replace him if you needed to. That you're going to go with as much as you can speculation. You can make those changes if you have to. But hamstring injuries are tricky, man. And I've never seen. They said he was out 3 weeks. I have never seen a 3-week injury be a 3-week injury when it came to a hamstring. I've never seen it. If it's got a tear, that's a lot that got to work out. And running is one of the first things that you can do. But that's not what the hamstring is ready for. The hamstring is ready for that explosive. That's for firing, you know, and that's a different thing than going for a jog.
Just ask Alejandro Bedoya. I mean, that was a quad, right? So if you try and play through it, that's the playoffs. So imagine the playoffs times 1,000, because that's a World Cup. That's what everyone dreams of. You're going to push through. You're going to say you're fine. You're going to push through it. But realistically, whether it's a calf, whether it's a hammy, whether it's a groin, whether it's a quad, those muscular injuries take time, and no one has time. That it's just games on games, World Cup. There's no break. You're either completely unfit, or you're playing through a muscular problem, and typically it's not going to end well because the muscle does go, or you're compensating, something else goes, and then now you're down 2 injuries. So,
but it's interesting. It's you can probably sense a little desperation for him because he knows he's got to be on the bubble at this point as to whether he can go or not, and he's probably asking the social media team, "Hey, just take a video of me running and see if that gets me on the roster with Greg."